Tajweed is an Arabic word, and it literally means to make better, beautify, or to embellish. But Islamically speaking, Tajweed means to pronounce every letter, every word correctly with all its qualities, as it was revealed to the Prophet, peace be upon him. And when you start learning Tajweed, you'll be confronted with what seems to you like hundreds and hundreds of rules, like ترقيق, تفخيم, المد المتغنى, الإضغام الساكن, المد, الإخفاء, الإدغام, أحكام الوقف والابتداء, أحكام الوقف والابتداء, أحكام الراء. And this for many people, especially who don't speak Arabic as their first language, could be very disheartening and might even drive them away from learning Tajweed, or even worse, drive them away from reading Quran altogether. And this can make them think, I'm not good enough to learn the Holy Quran. And this, of course, is the last thing we want. So, if you want to learn the Tajweed properly, these are the things that you should not do. First, starting too quickly and too enthusiastically by learning everything simultaneously and intensely because, well, you want to get it right, but by doing so and going headfirst into rules will probably result in negative effects because it will become too much and too overwhelming. Number 2, using transliteration mushaf. Sure, it might be a great help for those who can't read or speak Arabic, especially if you're learning your very first verse in the Holy Quran. Or it might be a good help for you to learn how you pronounce a difficult word once in a while. But that is not the proper way for you to read the Holy Quran systematically, especially if you are planning to develop your Tajweed skills. So how then? Well, you should learn using the CMYK method. But what is this method? Do you know that printing press machines don't print pictures in one single step, but rather in 4 steps? They print cyan, then magenta, and then yellow, and last black. And this gives a perfect, complete picture at the end, since each color got 100% attention. We'll try to do the same when we learn Tajweed. To produce a high-quality recitation, you'll not learn all the rules in one go simultaneously and try to apply them all at the same time, but rather in many different steps according to your ability. So you can make it in 5 steps, others will do it in 6 or 10 steps. You know what you're capable of, so don't burden yourself more than what you can take, because that is the most important key to get it right and get the perfect picture at the end of the day. And this is how you apply this method in practice. For this method, you can use any Arabic mushaf, but I recommend using a Tajweed mushaf that has colors, guiding colors in them that indicate certain rules of Tajweed. I gave it away in a previous lesson of mine. You can find its link in the description of this video. So for this method, you will choose one rule at a time, and you will focus on it, use it, and work with it until you master it and it becomes second nature to you, that you can perform it automatically without thinking. Afterwards, you'll move on to the next rule, and you'll master it beside the previous one that you've just got the hang of. And so on and so on. As an example for this method, you can start with the rules of med. You don't have to start with all of the rules of med at the same time, but you can start with the rules of med muttasil and med munfasil. To learn more about these rules, you can check out this video. Now, to visualize the example, if you're using the Tajweed mushaf with guiding colors, you'll be focusing on anything with a red color. Or if you're using a normal mushaf, just focus on the med only. So you'll be focusing on this sign. And that is the only thing you should be looking at and paying attention to. Anything else, don't worry about it for now. Take it step by step. After you've worked with the med for a good amount of time, and you can do it naturally without thinking, I recommend that you try and apply this knowledge in your own mushaf without colors. That is, if you were using the Mus'haf with colors in the first place, so that you don't get too dependent on the colors of the Tajweed Mus'haf. After being done with Mad, you should proceed to the next rule, which might be Noon Sakina, or echoing letters, for example. So you will be focusing on everything that has a blue color according to the Mus'haf of Tajweed. And then you will work on your echoing letters rules while applying what you've learned in step 1 until you have mastered step 2, and then you will take what you've learned and mastered so far to the next step. And you will keep going like this until you have mastered all the Tajweed rules one after the other. Now let's have a look at an example from the Quran and how you're supposed to do this. Now notice how I will be focusing only in my first recitation on the rules of Mad. And every time I read the same surah, I will be focusing on a different type of rules. Eventually I'll have a full picture of the whole surah, and I'll be reciting it properly. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. Now in my next recitation, I'll be focusing on the Mad and the Noon Sakina. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. Next, I'll be focusing on the rules of Mim Sakina. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. Next, I'll be focusing on the rules of echoing letters. And this is going to be the final version of this surah. And this is what it should sound like. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. So as you've just seen, when you learn Tajweed, only focus on one rule at a time until you've mastered it, and don't go to the next rule until you have mastered the first one. Then move to the next one, and so on, until you've covered all the Tajweed rules perfectly. One last question. Which order should I follow to learn the Tajweed rules? You are supposed to make your own priority list of rules. You should start with the ones that you find easier. But in my opinion, this is the most logical division for Tajweed rules. You start with learning the symbols of the Quran to make sure that you are making the right stops and that you're not changing any meanings of ayahs. Second, you will learn how to make proper stops. Third, you will learn how to deal with natural mad. Fourth, you will learn how to deal with mad muttasil and mad munfasil. Next, you will learn how to deal with hamzat al-wasl and hamzat al-qata'. Afterwards, you will learn how to deal with the word Allah. Next, you will learn how to deal with noon sakina, with idhar, iqlab, idgham, ikhfa. Afterwards, you will learn how to deal with mim sakina. Next, you will learn how to pronounce ra. Next is learning how to echo letters or القلقلة. Before last is learning mouthful letters, and last learning empty mouth letters. And again, to be sure, this is just a recommendation. You can make your own list of rules that you find more convenient. So to recap, the do's and don'ts for learning tajweed. What you shouldn't do is learning many rules at the same time and start too fast and use transliteration mushaf systematically. What you should do, learn one single rule at a time. Move to the next rule only if you mastered the first. Train with Tajweed Mushaf or just a normal Mushaf in Arabic. Make a priority list for the rules and how you will learn them. Read the Quran regularly, because practice makes perfect. Thanks for watching. I hope you've learned something new today. If you did, please like and share the video for other people to learn from it. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.